Angel Reese did not request a trade from Chicago. The Chicago Sky said, "We just don't want to deal with the headache. We don't care. We don't want her here. She's been a locker room cancer."
Angel Reese just got traded to the Atlanta Dream, and every sports outlet in America is going to tell you the same story. They're going to talk about the draft picks Chicago got back. They're going to talk about what this means for Atlanta's playoff run. They're going to use words like fresh start and new chapter and exciting opportunity. Don't believe any of it, because here's what nobody is saying out loud right now. And I promise you, once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. Atlanta Dream finished last season with the third best record in the entire WNBA, 30 wins. They were built to go deep in the playoffs. You know what happened? They ran into the Indiana Fever in the first round. They ran into Caitlin Clark, and they went home. So when Angel Reese, the one person on the planet who has the most unfinished business with Caitlin Clark, chooses to sign with that exact team, you think that's a coincidence?
Find her a new home. What was she, an abandoned cat? They just traded away some draft picks to protect every player on the team, and now they are revamping. Sky is a joke. Word for word, bar for bar. Feel bad for Cardoso.
You think Angel Reese looked at a list of teams and said, Atlanta seems nice this time of year? No. Angel Reese didn't go to Atlanta to win a championship. She went to Atlanta to beat Caitlin Clark. And that changes everything about what this WNBA season is about to look like. Stay with me, because this story goes much deeper than a trade. To understand why this trade matters, you have to go back to 2023. April 2nd, 2023. Dallas, Texas, the NCAA Women's National Championship game. LSU versus Iowa. Caitlin Clark drops 30 points and gives everything she has. But LSU pulls away in the second half and wins 102-85. Angel Reese finishes with 15 points and 10 rebounds. And then, in the final seconds of the game, with the outcome already decided, Angel Reese walks up to Caitlin Clark and does it. The finger point. The "you can't see me" gesture. Right in Clark's face. The internet explodes. Half the country calls it disrespectful. The other half calls it earned. Either way, every single person who sees it can't look away. And in that moment, whether she planned it or not, Angel Reese lights the fuse on the most compelling rivalry in women's basketball history. Now here's something people forget. Clark was actually gracious about it afterward. She said Angel shouldn't be criticized. She said trash talk is part of the game. But you know what else Clark did? She came back. 2024 NCAA tournament. Elite 8 rematch, Iowa versus LSU. Again. This time, Clark goes absolutely nuclear. 41 points, 12 assists. Iowa wins. Reese rolls her ankle early and is never the same in that game. Iowa moves on. 1 win each. Then they both enter the WNBA draft. Clark goes number 1 overall to Indiana. Reese goes number 7 to Chicago. The two biggest names in women's basketball. In the same league, on different teams, destined to keep playing each other. The rivalry doesn't end. It just changes arenas. Their first professional meeting is June 1st, 2024, Chicago Sky hosting Indiana Fever. The game is physical from the start. And then Sky guard Chennedy Carter just levels Caitlin Clark. Full body check, knocks her to the floor on an inbounds play. No call. The clip goes viral within minutes. And there's Angel Reese on the sideline, clapping. She didn't throw the hit, but she didn't exactly look upset about it either. The image of Reese clapping while Clark is on the floor becomes one of the defining images of that season. Reese later gets fined $1,000 for refusing to speak to the media after the game. ESPN2 pulls their highest WNBA rating in over 20 years for that matchup. The WNBA had found its golden rivalry, and both players were right in the middle of it, whether they wanted to be or not. Fast forward to 2025, May 17th, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky. Season opener at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Sold out. 17,274 fans. Indiana's largest regular season crowd in over a decade. And it gets physical again. Clark throws a hard foul on Reese going for a rebound. Officials review it, upgrade it to a flagrant. Reese gets up off the floor and gets in Clark's face. Technical fouls. The building goes crazy. Clark goes on to record her third career triple-double. Fever win by 35. Reese goes back to Chicago 0-1 on the season, again against Clark. But here's what I want you to pay attention to. That Fever team, the one that embarrassed Chicago on opening night, that same Fever team had swept the Atlanta Dream out of the playoffs just months earlier. So now you understand the situation Angel Reese was looking at this offseason. Before we get to the trade, there's one more chapter you need to know about because it happened just weeks ago and it tells you everything about where things stand between these two right now. Clark and Reese were both selected to represent Team USA in the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament. Same jersey, same team. On paper, teammates. In one game against Puerto Rico, Reese extends her hand toward Clark for a high five. Clark walks in the opposite direction, doesn't acknowledge it, doesn't look back, just gone. The clip hits social media, and the internet loses its mind. Again. Then, in a separate game, Reese twice chooses not to pass to Clark on defensive rebounds. Twice. On purpose. While they are on the same team, representing the same country. These two cannot even share a jersey without the rivalry bleeding through. So when the Chicago Sky called Reese into a meeting this offseason and told her they were moving in a different direction, that they were trading her to Atlanta for a couple of future draft picks, you have to wonder, what was going through Angel Reese's mind when she found out her new team was the exact team that Caitlin Clark eliminated from the playoffs? Was it devastation? Or was it something that looked a lot more like opportunity? Let's talk about what Angel Reese is actually walking into. The Atlanta Dream finished last season 30-14, third best record in the WNBA. They have dynamic guards in Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard. Their coach Carl Smesko runs one of the most sophisticated offensive systems in the league. On paper, this is a legitimate playoff team. A team that, on any given night, can compete with Indiana. But they couldn't get past the Fever. First-round exit. That loss haunts this franchise. Now they add Angel Reese, the most physically dominant rebounder in WNBA history. The only player to average 12 or more rebounds per game in not one, but 2 straight seasons. A player who, whatever her limitations as a scorer, changes the entire interior of a basketball game. And here's the thing about that combination that nobody is fully calculating yet. Atlanta is now built specifically to beat Indiana. Reese clogs the paint against a Fever team that lives in the lane. She bodies up against Clark on drives. She protects the glass on missed Indiana threes. Every single thing that Angel Reese does on a basketball court is a direct problem for the way the Indiana Fever play. This isn't just a roster move, this is a counterpunch, and it was aimed directly at Caitlin Clark. Atlanta fans right now are thinking about a championship, but Angel Reese, she's thinking about one game, one opponent, one moment to settle something that started in Dallas in 2023 and has been running ever since. Here's the big picture. Last season, every time Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were within 10 miles of each other, the ratings went through the roof. The WNBA became must-see television, sold-out arenas, viral moments every single week. Sports journalists comparing it to Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird. That was when they were on different teams in the same division, playing each other a handful of times a year. Now imagine what happens when every Fever Dream game becomes a heavyweight fight. When Angel Reese isn't just a rival, Clark sees a few times a season, she's on a team that's actively hunting Indiana in the standings. A team built piece by piece to take Indiana down. The WNBA didn't plan this. Nobody planned this. But the league just got handed the storyline of the decade walking into the 2026 season. And Caitlin Clark knows it. Clark has always been careful about how she talks about Reese publicly. She doesn't add fuel. She says the right things. But you watched that high five clip. You saw her walk away. There is something real between these two, and no press conference answer is going to make it go away. Now they'll meet in the playoffs. Because Atlanta isn't a first-round exit waiting to happen anymore. Not with Reese in the middle of that lineup. This is the collision course the WNBA has been building toward for 3 years. And it is finally actually locked in. Angel Reese went to Atlanta. The league is calling it a fresh start, a new chapter, an exciting opportunity. But here's what I think is actually happening. Angel Reese looked at the situation, at her 2 years in Chicago, at the losses to Indiana, at that high five Clark never gave back, at every clap and every flagrant and every moment the media told her she was the villain. And she made a calculated decision. She chose the one team in the WNBA that had the best chance of putting her on a collision course with Caitlin Clark when it matters most. In the playoffs, on a national stage, with everything on the line. That is not a player running away from something. That is a player running towards something. And if you think this WNBA season is going to be anything other than appointment television, you haven't been paying attention. Drop a comment below. Do you think Angel Reese made the right move? And do you think the dream can actually beat the fever when it counts? Stay locked in and subscribe with Courtside Leaks for all the breaking stories.